podcast out with Tye Jordan, and I think it's a really good one. Tye's an impressive man. Shares his journey about really launching his business right during the pandemic, which is becoming a very common theme on Beers and Careers. So we talk about his journey to getting there, some of his athletic pursuits outside of work, but also he's so involved in the local community and has such a focus on nonprofits and building the community around him. And so we spend a bunch of time talking about that as well. It's a really inspiring conversation that I think you'll enjoy. Check it out. Tye, thank you for coming on Beers and Careers.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Mark.
Absolutely. As we drink our Stella Artois.
Oh, yeah.
Dealer's choice in the fridge. Love that. So, Tye, obviously you're at Cinch I.T. You own the Marlboro location. But before we dive into what you do day to day and maybe how you got there, interested, we have some rapid fire questions just so we let the audience get to know our guests.
I love rapid fire.
And since it's Beers and Careers, what's your favorite drink, beer, cocktail?
I'm more of a cocktail guy.
Okay.
I kind of blew out the beers through my college days.
Yes.
So, I like to, sit at home, have a nice little scotch, and call it a day.
You're a scotch guy.
Oh, yeah.
All right. What's your favorite?
McKellen.
Okay.
Yeah.
A year? Is there a year or?
Oh, yeah. So, preferably, I want I'm a 30-year age guy.
Okay.
But, that's not really wallet friendly.
Yeah.
But 18-year works as well.
18's the go-to.
Yep.
Okay. Are you a swear? Do you have a favorite curse word?
Oh, I try not to.
Okay.
But there's a few of them that shit is definitely the one that comes up.
Okay. That's number 2 on the all-time list.
I think I coined it.
Yeah. How about quotes? You got a favorite quote or quotes you kind of think about?
From time to time, I refer back to a quote from Plato, and I think it helps me, stay grounded. It gives me, a good perception of like where I'm at and remaining humble. And it's a battle that we all have with ourselves. He said the battle over yourself is a better battle than the battle of tomorrow, which means he's got a few in that same kind of genre. But Plato was really self-focused, and it speaks to the nature of the way, we're evolving today as far as like looking at how selfish a lot of people are.
Yes.
So he kind of, pointed that out in himself and just trying to be mindful of that and be as selfless as possible.
I love that. I love that. I love the ancient kind of philosophy. I went down the Stoic path I don't want to say I went down it like it's a chapter that I've closed, but I've gone through periods where I was reading like a passage from Stoic philosophy once a day. It's really good. Ancient wisdom.
Oh, yeah.
It's legit. It is so legit. What was your first job?
Oh, boy. So I was enamored by like looking at things and being like, oh, how do I get that? And we'll just work as hard as possible and you'll get whatever you want.
Yeah.
So my first job was a bicycle paperboy.
No way.
Yep. I used to travel around. I grew up on Fort Devens.
Okay, yeah.
And I used to travel around base delivering papers, and I
love that.
I ended up getting that pizza that I always wanted all to myself.
That was the goal. That was the goal. I love that. How about books? Favorite books you're reading now?
One of my most recent favorite books by Patrick Bet-David is called Your Next 5 Moves. It really does focus on, the alignment of your goals and also being, mindful of how many moves you want to be ahead. You don't have to be a grandmaster. He took a lot of references from chess.
Yes.
A grandmaster is 12 to 15 moves ahead. You don't have to be a grandmaster. You just have to know your next 5 moves.
Yeah. I like him too.
Yep.
He's got a good podcast.
Yeah.
Good content. He's a sharp guy.
Valuetainment's coming up there.
Yeah, valuetainment. That's right. That's right. And he just got like ownership, some level of ownership stake in the Yankees, right? I think in the last couple of years. So
He did.
pretty impressive dude.
Yeah.
I guess I'd love my favorite way of researching people, it's terrible, is LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah.
The typical creepy recruiter in me. So talk to me, like how walk me through. Beers and Careers is all about how it was founded out of the idea that basically I was meeting all these people, VPs of ops, engineering, CEOs, HR leaders, and they all loved their job. And they had no idea that that was going to be their job when they graduated from college or high school or however they got matriculated into the working world. And I was like, man, that was like the opposite of what they were teaching me in school, that I need to figure out what I was going to do with my life. And so this concept of nonlinear career paths came up, and I see for you starting quality control, business analysts, working at Mazda, but now running an IT org. Like, can you walk me through?
I've had
some of that?
so many different job dynamics, like in my earlier upbringing, like through high school as a younger man. I probably had more jobs than most people would ever have. Like,
Okay.
I had 3 different jobs at one time
No way.
when I was in high school. I worked for, this is the nerd coming out.
Yeah.
If you're in IT, there's a little bit of nerd
Yeah,
in
you
you
got to have a
somewhere.
little bit in there. Yeah.
But I worked for Wizards of the Coast. They're a gaming company. They played this card game called Magic the Gathering.
Oh, yeah.
I used to, that's where I really got my selling chops from. I started selling there when I was like 16 years old.
Okay.
And they kind of gave me a lot of travel experience too, because they took me to events and shows and, trade shows and stuff where all these card plays and tournaments were going on.
No way.
Which was really cool because I got a firsthand view of like different parts of the nation. Used to drive my mom crazy.
Right.
But it was awesome because it kind of built my passion for selling. And after that, I was in the game. I've sold Kirby vacuum cleaners to Cutco knives to, anything you can think of in sales, I've done.
Okay.
And that was like step 1. Step 2, before I got locked into different corporations, was when I was in college and I really wanted to figure out what I wanted to do. My whole vision was, let's be a project manager. Makes a good amount of money. It's a decent living, and not a lot of worries behind it. It's a pretty, it's a sophisticated job, not too complex. That's where my mind was, but things didn't go that direction.
Yeah.
I'm just like everybody else, when it comes to career paths, and that's, I wasn't walking around at like 6 years old with a Cinch I.T apron on, being like, I can't wait to get my IT career started.
Right.
I was, I had no idea what I wanted to do, and it's just that IT has always been in the background for me. It was always a passion to go with the passion of moving forward in business, and it kind of happened by accident, which is why I ended up where I'm at with Cinch, is because it was a marriage of 2 things that I was doing really well, and I was always doing it for different businesses I worked for. Like, no matter what position I held, it was like, hey, man, something's wrong with my computer. You think you can figure it out? I'm like, yeah, let me take a look. And then once you solve one issue,
You're the guy.
you're the guy now.
You're the guy. Yeah.
But there's no pay that comes with that. So
No, not
that was
at
the
all.
issue I had to solve.
No, not at all. And so, like, I see, real quick for the audience, what does Cinch I.T do too? Give us a.
Cinch I.T is amazing. What it does is provide fast and friendly service. For a long time in the IT sphere, it's always had this notion of, you call IT support or connect with IT support, and then they get back to you when they get back to you.
Right.
We wanted to eliminate that stigma by, not just delivering fast and friendly support, but also value.
Okay. And is it managed service programs?
Yep.
Kind of. Yeah.
It's an
okay.
MSP, so
Yep.
it's a managed service provider.
Yep.
So outsource IT, whether you have IT, you don't have IT, or you work with an IT director, we fit in all those scopes.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And so then, like, I see, Mazda dealership, Limitless Livery, Better Business Bureau. Like, walk me through that stage of corporate pre-Cinch.
All of that was leading towards my ultimate goal, and that was, freedom of time.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that ultimately getting time back in my day, through those phases, I had a son, and like, I'm a workaholic.
Yeah.
I'll work 10, 12 hours a day, and I'll say to myself, oh, it's a vacation day today. I only work 10 hours. But
Right.
like, I'll do that 7 days a week. With him and like watching him grow, I wanted to have more time to spend with him. So it's, how do I align my career to fit, his growing life.
Yes.
And I wanted to cut back on stuff. So as I went through this transition from, job to job, in my more earlier, like adulthood years, it was more focused towards giving more time back. And some of these positions allowed me to do that. Some of them didn't. Was at Mazda. It was great. I actually got that job on accident. I left a consulting firm that I was working at to work for the owner there. And he was phenomenal. One of the funniest guys you ever meet. And he's like, you should try your hand at working in sales with us. He's like, I know you hate car sales. He's like, just give it a shot. So he sold me on selling.
You got it. Well, a good salesman likes to get sold.
Yeah. And I was great at it. I did pretty good. I ended up being number one in the region for a while.
Okay.
And I left that position to look at different finance positions, and because I had another knack there. And that was moving in the wrong direction for me because it was becoming a 7-day-a-week, 10-hour, 12-hour day. So I was like, that's not where I want to go.
Right.
And I was like, I'll find the next opportunity. The Better Business Bureau was a nonprofit organization.
Yeah.
I've always been tied to those. Working with my dad in the military earlier on, my dad used to work at a nonprofit nursing home that was for veterans. So it's kind of where I got my first look at supporting other human beings. And it was something that I became passionate about further and further in my career. So working at the nonprofit organization, the Better Business Bureau was awesome. I got to see the scope of what a lot of small to medium-sized businesses were going through, how they maintain their businesses, how they market, and some of the gaps that they have as well, and understanding, the things that they needed to do better to be successful.
When you were there, what stood out as the top one or two things that most small, medium-sized businesses got wrong from your or needed to improve on?
The thing that I do now, that's technology focus. There's a big gap there. There's you have a 20-year successful run as a business owner, and you're not equipping yourself with the tools to help that company grow with technology. Or there's
investing in tech,
investing, and also the knowledge gap too.
Okay.
You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And a lot of people won't come forward and say, hey, I don't know this. They'll just be like, I can get by where I'm at.
Right. Without it.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. How old's your son now?
He's 9.
Okay. 9. Cool. Me
Yep.
too, man. I got a 9-year-old.
Hey.
As your son demanded more time out of you, right? And you were making those decisions, because I think this is the topic that we end up exploring kind of often on this podcast, which is what's happening in your personal life is obviously, it's not like there's a work-life balance. There's it's interwoven. And, I love that quote. Not that I'm a huge Jack Welch fan, but there's no work-life balance. There's just decisions and consequences. And I like that, because it's it is kind of that black and white to a degree. How did you handle I'm gonna assume, but I want to be corrected, that as you were trying to pursue jobs with maybe more freedom, you were maybe leaving money on the table or advancement opportunities. How did you go through that decision-making process and then manage through that? Because I think there's a lot of people that feel man, I've got golden handcuffs, if you will. No matter how much money you're making, it's hard to go backwards.
Yeah.
Lifestyle creep is real.
It is.
And it's American.
Oh, yeah.
And so how did you handle lifestyle creep with the real priorities of being a dad?
I look at the way I live and do the best I can to live within my means. Anything outside of that is all, it's a flash, it's glamour. It's not what you really need. It's what you like to have versus what you need to have. Right. And I can look past that, and I can live within my means.
Right. Is that something you've always been able to do?
For the most part, yeah.
Okay.
I grew up in a household of 7 kids. So
yeah. No way. Cool. Yeah.
You learn how to live within your means really quickly.
Yes. Oh, that makes a ton of sense. So when you took the step backwards for you, it wasn't it didn't have to change the way your lifestyle necessarily functioned.
No, I've walked away from money that people were like, "Why would you do that?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, have you ever been offered that much money before?
Right. Exactly.
I've walked away from some incredible sums of money, and that's because there gets a point in your life where you realize, if you're good at what you do, not only will you be able to reach that sum again, but you might even go beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was confident in myself to that level. And that's why I was able to comfortably say no to that and say yes to spending more time with my son. And like, to me, those are years I'll never get back. Time is the more important thing. And, money's always secondary.
Yes.
If you're solid, money will always come.
Right. It's the truth. And I hear you say that, and I know based on your actions, when I've learned from you, from my colleague who knows you more intimately than I do, that like you've got a serious passion for the nonprofit, for the community,
Absolutely.
just the community around us, which just takes an incredible amount of selflessness, excuse me. But at the same time, to have the confidence that you've got the skill set to always make money and believe in yourself. Like, how do you view those topics? Because they're on the surface level, they seem like it can be counterintuitive, right? I've got to be selfish to make sure I'm working on myself. But at the same time, your behavior clearly speaks to your focus on others.
Yeah. There's a couple of different ways I want to answer that. It's because, I grew up in a military household. My father was absolutely paramount in my life. And I wanted to be the same thing for my son. And the second side of that is his focus too was always give first. Like, if you're able to do it without stretching yourself out and exhausting yourself beyond your own capability,
do it.
Have at it.
Yeah.
Help out the other person. Lend a hand. Not enough people do it. Manners are starting to fade. And he was saying that to me 25 plus years ago.
Right.
And to me, the evolution of the way things are now, like, I don't think things have gotten too much greater, but it is rare to see other people helping other people.
It is. How do you think about instilling that in a 9-year-old?
Just leading by example. The same way I do everything I do is just maybe my example will hit somebody differently. There's a lot of people not paying attention, focused on things in their lives. I get that, and it's that one person that, oh, why did you do that? They ask the question. Then I show them why and keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. Roll. I think it's really the best you can do is role model it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the key. And ultimately, I was talking with someone today. We were talking about our kids, or maybe it was yesterday, and it's your kids think you're a god.
Yeah.
And it's like it's an honor, but is it a great responsibility too? Like, everything is on watch.
I'm like, for how long are you going to be in this phase?
100% too. That was the other part of the conversation. It was like, I'm enjoying this while I can, because the backlash is coming, if you will.
No, son, you don't have to worship me. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. How has that evolved for you as a business owner? Like, how the fact of the matter is, if you've got a high standard for what you're going to expect out of your son and the way in which you carry yourself, you're not always going to employ folks that live to that level of standard. And, that's a great thing about the country, but also a challenge at times. Like, how has that evolved for you, and how have you had to deal with that?
To me, hard work isn't dead. There's a lot more people out there that are seeking opportunities. So it's kind of like, looking for those diamonds in the rough. The people that want the opportunities, that have, gone through the mud, if you will, that are out there that aren't really making themselves known. It's finding those people, and that's kind of what I seek when I'm looking to employ. People
with less about experience and more about maybe how you were raised.
Well, that too, but also adding in, the, commitment to work, which is something that, like, I value greatly, because with that behind people, they'll do whatever it takes to, achieve their goals. And it's nothing less than hard work.
How do you evaluate hard work when you're getting to know someone? Because I'm guessing it's easier when they're working for you and you can figure it out. You see a body of work, but like through an interview process, you're a guy who employs people and interviews people. Like what tactics and strategies do you employ to kind of assess someone's hard work?
The biggest thing is questions. When people are asking you numbers and numbers of questions to try to understand and figure out what you're doing, what your goals are, where your company's going.
So them asking you those questions, yes. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a level of interest that like they're already shaping the framework of what they do around your company. They just need to know the ins and outs of how they can make themselves successful there.
Yes. Show me the guardrails and I'll drive down the road.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. That's really interesting. So you've been doing the Cinch thing now for almost 5 years. Over 4 years.
Yeah, we just had our 4-year anniversary.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. How has how has that gone on? I know if you grew up in Fort Devens, you've always kind of been 495 Marlboro guy. I know you're involved with the chamber now. Like, how has your position evolved throughout that period?
For me, it's with Cinch, it's incredible because I'm getting more and more clients coming in the door, and as those clients come in, my focus is always on maintaining those business relationships, and I look at everything that I've done before, and those relationships are key because I feel like a lot of companies that go into relationships with outsourced IT don't really feel valued. But I look at it more as a partnership. So when we get together, we're in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
Until the day comes when you guys are like, look, we're at a point now where you guys have helped us out enough. Now it's time for us to go our separate ways.
Right.
But hopefully those days never come.
Yes. Okay. That makes sense. I mean, not that different than I forget his last name, but Louise. That owns a similar like philosophy on customer relationships. It's like, no, I'm gonna do what I say. Like he's got the no contract thing.
Yeah.
No contracts with his customers because he's like, if you don't want us, we'll stop today.
Yeah, we have the same kind of value as well.
It's awesome.
Yep.
It's awesome, and it's interesting because on the surface level, a lawyer is probably like, I don't know if you should do that.
Well, we looked at reread the road of the IT roadmap for a long time, and like the industry was plagued with these very knowledgeable people that would take advantage of companies with these 4 and 5 year contracts. And we're like, look, the world's moving in a subscription-based model.
Yes.
Why aren't we?
Yeah.
And that's where our mentality is.
Okay, so you're subscription-based, yeah.
Month by month.
Month by month.
It makes you, earn your stripes every month.
It does. It keeps an urgency about the org, which is thrilling. How else has it changed so much in 4 years for you?
Taking on more positions, becoming an intricate part of different organizations like the Marlboro Chamber. I sit as chairman now, but I'm hoping to leave a footprint that is a great foundation for many to follow after me.
What inspired you to take on that role?
I wanted to connect with business owners on a, owner to owner level, not just understanding the nature of what they do and what those businesses are. I wanted to connect like, hey, I also sit in the driver's seat here. What are the challenges that you're facing? So to understand those challenges and, provide some kind of support.
Any other organizations like that or similar that you're involved with outside of Cinch?
I am talking to some other fundraising nonprofit charities that we work with.
Okay.
And I haven't really squeezed the trigger on sitting on those boards yet.
Okay.
Time is of the essence.
Yeah, I was going to say time. It's a battle.
It is. But to, any respect, I'm trying to help them out as much as I can. So, but that's competing events, fundraising. Last year was I maxed myself out.
Did you?
Yeah, I did Why Me and Sherry's House is an organization that specializes in treating kids with cancer. They also provide housing for parents. So when those kids have to go through that battle, and you're financially tapped, you have a place to live while you can take care of your kid while they're there. We do the 100-mile ruck for them every year. So every July, we're doing 25 miles a day over 4 days.
Wow.
Sleeping outside.
Where's that at?
Western Mass.
Okay.
So it starts in Rutland,
Yep.
goes to Barry, then it goes to North Brookfield, from there back to Worcester.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you participate in it?
Yeah, I've done it twice.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you like prepare for that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Physically?
You have to.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Loads of preparation.
Yeah. What is your training for that like?
The thing I focus on the support aspect as far as holding the ruck. The ruck's like 40 to 45 pounds.
Yeah.
Sometimes more. A lot of squats, lots of deadlifting.
That kind of thing.
Keep you physically in shape, and then just walking around with the ruck on like 10, 15 miles at a time.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Do you it's often come up. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on it, but I'm going to judge a book by its cover. You look like a pretty fit dude and keeping yourself in shape.
Yep.
How has that work on yourself from the physical sense affected your work life?
I mean, I preach this to everybody. Like, to me, it translates and spills over into, the work ethic that you have to take care of yourself spills over into your everyday work ethic.
Yes.
Everything that you're doing, to me, there's another quote. It's a sound. I might mess it up, but I'll give it a shot. A sound mind resides within a sound body. Within inside of a sound body resides a sound soul.
Yep.
And to me, that kind of tackles, the goals that I kind of have on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Looking for, a mental win, a spiritual win, and a physical win.
Yes. That, not to just go back and forth with quotes, but the one that comes to mind for me is that Naval Ravikant quote. That's like it's like the three things worth attaining in life are a fit body, a calm mind, and a loving family.
Yeah.
Or they're things that must be earned.
Oh yeah.
And not bought. And I like that for me is a lot of a guiding principle. So like so you got all these things on your plate. Like, wow, what's the workout routine for Tye Jordan? What are you doing?
Actually, one of the local gyms here, I connected with the owner there, and I started kind of like a group training session for younger kids that are athletes. And I'm like, I want it very casual in case there's days when I can't make it. Mm-hmm. He's like, it's fine. He's like, it's at your discretion. So
okay.
At night.
So you're a night guy.
Yeah. So from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights, I'm there, helping these kids out. My goal is to make sure they don't hurt themselves, trying to compete, and they're very competitive.
Yeah.
Ultimately, some of the greater kids with a lot of athletic talent, throw me some tickets when you get up there. Mm-hmm. Just remember the little guy.
Right. Who helped you out. That's awesome.
But no, I love to see it. I love to see, a lot of it surprised me to see how many young kids are so competitive about taking care of themselves at such a young age. It was like maybe 4 or 5 of us growing up.
Yeah, right. How old
like
are these
in
kids?
The gym. They're like anywhere from 16 to 18.
Yeah.
Coming out of the back into high school, going into college, but still keeping that fitness routine in. So I love to see it.
That's impressive. Yeah. That's impressive. Yeah, it's a wild thing. I had a moment where I saw a picture of myself with my youngest son, and I was like, "Oh wow, I'm the fat dad." and I just was so motivated to not be. I always wanted to be able to be like able to play catch or run around the yard at any point in time. That was like my ultimate fitness goal. And it's obviously evolved since then. But so that was kind of my journey back. But I was shocked at how much it helped my work career.
Yeah.
Like just the resilience it builds in your, in just who you are as a person in terms of like, all right, well, I've got a challenge, but like I've been here. Like my hardest part of my day already happened at 6 a.m. this morning. Like how much harder can it get?
Oh yeah.
And the perspective of it. I feel like perspective is the key. It's like at the end of the day, I'm still sitting in an office.
Oh
like,
yeah.
There's not, I'm not in a wartime situation.
Well, at least like
for me, at least, yeah.
I see it the same way. And one of the things that makes me laugh is I think about this guy. I was like, "What do you do?" I was like, "Are you a bodybuilder? Are you trying to compete?" He's like, "No, I work in a library." I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
Most, fit librarian.
Yeah, like ever.
Somebody's going to put those heavy books on the shelf. And I'm like,
Exactly.
the perspective aspect.
Yes. With a father in the military, did that have a profound effect on your perspective?
Oh, absolutely.
It had to have, right?
Oh, yeah. Like so many strict guidelines I had when I was a younger kid. And
Yeah.
like, I see him now with my son, and I'm like, where was all this loving kindness when I was growing up?
Right. It's like, oh, grandchildren are really wild, Dad.
I had a schedule to keep. I had rules. Like, why are you so nice to him?
And do you employ similar tactics that your father did with you with your son?
To a degree, I take
Yeah.
a different approach. It's funny because a lot of my life I kind of look at like running a business, and so those aspects kind of spill over into my everyday life, and that's just the organization aspect alone.
Yes.
is severe, and that's something I want to pass on to him. Like, you get up every day, you make your bed, your room's if it's untidy, you clean it. He sees my office space and he's like, it's so neat compared to mom's. I was like, don't tell her that.
Yeah. Simmer down on that one.
Yeah.
Don't start a war.
Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense. It's an interesting thing, but it also sounds like at times you seem like the kind of guy who's gregarious. Like you mentioned it, like last year for you, you kind of went overboard, and you're like, I'm going to peel back a little bit. Like, is that a theme? And I don't. This isn't a loaded question because my answer is yes for me. But like, is that a theme for you? Like every couple of years or at every certain cycle, you're like, whoa, I'm doing a little too much right now. I got to maybe reprioritize.
Oh yeah.
Again.
Yeah. I'm on this journey of like always evaluating and evaluating myself on a regular basis, where I look at what I'm doing and I'm like, all right, is this too much? We got to cut it back. But at the same time, I'm like, how much discomfort are we seeking today? Like,
Yes.
Stay in that realm of like seeking discomfort, because life is going to present challenges. So, it sounds maddening, but like, seek discomfort.
Yes. How do you seek discomfort professionally?
Stepping out of my comfort zone. I always
Like example wise.
challenges I seek are for me. I was terrified of public speaking when I was younger.
Okay. Yeah.
The thing that changed that for me and makes me do it now in my career, like, there's still a slight bit of anxiety.
Oh yeah.
But
You're a human.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And one of my professors when I was a kid, he was like, hey, we're doing a presentation today in front of the president. He's like, and a few colleagues from the school. What he didn't tell us was that it was in front of the entire auditorium.
Okay.
And he invited our family members there.
Oh.
So we get on stage and I'm like, why's my mom and dad here?
Yeah.
But it was awesome though. It was great. Like, it's like, just go up there and present it like you would in front of the class. And that's kind of how I take the approach. Like, just present the facts and just,
But you've got that experience to lean on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Which is huge.
Yeah.
How like when you think about the concept of seeking discomfort, do you seek it in all aspects of your life?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Physical challenges, things that I've never done before. Pushing myself to limits I've never reached. There's some things I look at and I say, I don't know what the ceiling is for me on that. So let's find out.
That makes sense. Well, you're gonna have to keep me in the loop on the ruck thing. I think there's a couple guys here that would be down to maybe
awesome.
raise some money for a good cause, and
it's fantastic.
have a personal challenge on the way.
I did that. I did Bike to the Beach last year.
Oh, cool.
And then I ran a marathon. I ran the Newport Marathon, and after 12 years of like between gaps in my last marathon, that one was, out of all three things last year, that was the most challenging.
That was last year you did that?
Yeah, I did all three of those last year.
Yeah, you were letting it rip.
Yeah.
You had 12 years in between your marathons? What was the first one you ran?
Back in the day, I ran New York,
Okay.
and then I ran it was like an outlet marathon for Lowell,
Okay.
and that was crazy.
How so?
I was close to what I want to say was the best shape ever.
Okay.
And like, I thought I was going to break 3.5 hours. Came close.
Did you come close? Yeah.
It was like 3:32.
Oh, Oh, so you're moving, dude.
Yeah,
You're
back
moving.
then.
Yeah.
Not this year.
Not
last
this
year.
year?
Last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Tack an hour onto that.
Okay, yeah. How old are you now?
I'll be 38 in October.
Okay, yeah, I'm 38 myself. I actually ran Boston a week or two ago. It was a wild experience.
I believe it.
I was wild. The training is almost its own experience.
Yeah.
In and of itself, but yeah, a lot of discomfort and it's wild how all of this training hinges on one day when you can't control the weather and what's going to go on. It's a wonderful metaphor for life. It's like be as prepared as possible, but even when you get there, shit's going to go awry.
Every time.
You know, it's like no day is the same.
Yep.
I'm sure at Cinch, no day is the same.
No.
And I think that's it's actually for me in our business. It's one of those challenges where I feel like when you, I'll ask you the question: when did your professional career stop becoming a job and becoming a career? And what I mean by that is like, when did it be like, not, I don't want to say like a burden, but like work sucks in the beginning. Like if you're learning something, like the hard work, I mean, you cut your teeth in a sales environment, like you got to eat some shit. It's just not fun.
Yeah. I mean,
at all, right?
When you pray for rain, you got to go through the mud.
Right. It's the truth. So like for you, is there any like seminal moment in your life where you're like, you woke up one day and you're like, I'm doing it. Like I'm in a mode.
It was in COVID time.
During COVID.
Okay. Yeah. It was in COVID time, and so how we got here is interesting. So me and my business partner Tim, he was like, "What are you working on?" I was like, "Hey, I'm at this nonprofit. I have these ideas." I was like, "I think I'm going to move forward in this direction and start my own shop." And he's like, "Cool." He's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "This, and this." He's like, "I'm kind of tired of the corporate world myself." He's like, "We should connect." So we got together. I was like, "I'm thinking this is what Cyber Lotus is." And he's like, "I love it." He's like, "How can I help?" He's like, "Do you need technical experience?" He's like, "I can provide that." He's like, "And if we get big enough," he's like, "I'll even lead them." And I was like, "Cool." Fast track that. We look at the Cinch franchise. It literally combines everything we're trying to do, speeds us up a little bit, has brand recognition. It's starting to build the franchise model itself. And I'm like, we got to get in on this. We buy this. We make it happen. One of the best decisions I ever had in my entire life
was buying that franchise.
Yep.
And you bought it. It says you started there in Feb of 2020. Yep. Did you buy it before that, or is that when you bought it?
So we purchased the business in February, and that we were just like, you know what, doors open in March.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
And then the whole world shuts down. Now, me and my business partner, we work so well together because we're 100% opposite.
Okay.
Like introvert and extrovert to the core.
Okay.
Yin and yang.
Love that.
And he's so calculated and so careful. And he's like, "That's it. What are we going to do?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Hey, man." I was like, "It's not over till it's over."
Right.
So I'm focused on, making sure we have clients, making sure we have a revenue coming in, because at that point we had nothing.
Right.
I reached out to some contacts, and long and behold, a few people were like, "Hey, we're struggling. We had people sent home. We don't have any laptops. Like, we went to all the store chains; they're all empty. Is there any way you could provide anything?" And I was like, "We got a surplus actually, because we're going into business."
Right.
And we helped them out with that. They became our first clients.
So COVID really presented opportunity for you.
Yeah, there was a silver lining there, 100%. And I said that, when one door closes, another one opens, and there's always opportunity around. You just have to look for it.
When, there's no like moment when COVID ended, right? But at some point, things went back to a more normal life.
Yeah.
It was closer to pre-COVID. How did you navigate that part of the business? Like, what did you, like, for example, I guess what I'm asking you is, without that, I'm sure there was a lot of customers that were in that similar situation to your first customer.
100%.
And then people start coming back to an office or they start working hybrid. Did your business model and strategy need to change in like late 2022 ish?
Yeah, we actually implemented a BYOD, bring your own device policy, work from home, because majority of like there's as many companies that were returning to the office, there was as many that were staying at home,
Right.
Because the efficiency levels were through the roof,
Right.
People are happier working from home. They had a better work-life balance, and I understand it doesn't work across the board for everybody, but for the companies it did,
It worked very well.
yes.
Yeah. Interesting. Wow. That's a wild, talk about seeking some discomfort, man.
Oh yeah.
That's that is not how you expect when you start a business for things to go. It's funny because I had Melinda Gallagher on here.
Okay.
From Lost Shoe, and same thing. Started a business like weeks before COVID. It's like, man, that's it's not what you would expect people to say, right? You'd expect like kind of your business partner, like, what are we gonna do?
You're like looking back at it now.
It's crazy.
It's one of those things I look at and I can laugh at, but like going through that time of uncertainty.
Crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
But it's great because I look at it as a testament to me and him, like it's a proving ground. If we can go through that, we can weather the storm in anything.
Yes. Oh, agreed. Back to like having something in your experience to lean on for tough times. That's awesome that you got it now.
Yeah.
At Cinch. Through your career, like what are you most proud of when you look back at your career thus far?
I'm proud of always being able to, move forward despite, looking at different aspects of my life and being like, hey, maybe I'm better off here. Because it's very easy to get complacent and comfortable in a job. I'm very happy that the jobs I've had, I've stuck with for a while until I determined it was a good time to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you can, and comparison is a thief of joy, right? I mean, you
Yeah.
can always long for more.
Oh, yeah.
And for you, like the whole Tye, not just the working one, like what's your greatest success in life when you think about it right now? What are you most proud of?
His name is Alexander.
Yeah.
He's about 9.
Yeah. Yeah, right. It's
No,
the
he
truth.
is. He is. He's I'm happy that, I'm able to provide, and give him everything that he needs to set him up for a level of success for the rest of his life as well.
Yeah. And I'm guessing that you're also, I mean, I also feel like in my own life, the blessings of working through a COVID or those challenges you get, it's like, man, I can't wait to teach my kid.
Oh, yeah.
And now at 9, you can start to explore some more difficult concepts with a child because they can wrap their brain around it. It's like, I can't wait to tell you the shit I wish I knew when I was 16, 18, it's that there's like the part of me that really can't wait for that. I don't want to speed up anything. And there's the other part of me that's like, I also can't wait for him to be a little older so I can like watch Gladiator and shit with him.
Oh, yeah. That was for me and my dad. We went from like a role of like this strict relationship to more just casual friends now, and that's what I want to evolve into with my son too.
Yes. Yeah. It's a very different dynamic than like the one you had with your mother.
Yeah.
Right. Because I don't know. I don't know about your relationship with your mother, but like for mine, that was the person I could like be vulnerable with my entire life.
Oh yeah.
My dad was not my friend until I was like 25, and I was like, "Where were you before?"
Didn't even start hugging me till I was 30.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like I mean, that's old school shit, right? Like it's the funniest thing, and you spend any amount of time thinking about that. And for me, my place goes to like, no, he knew his job.
Yeah.
He's I remember like being in high school or college and getting into disagreements about stuff. My dad being like, I am not your friend.
Oh yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Absolutely.
And it was like, okay, I get that.
Yep.
I get that. So it's it's really interesting. I feel like when I talk to you, I would never summarize our conversation in just one sentence because there's obviously levels to you for sure. But like you strike me as one of those guys who really gets like the, I'm going to put my own oxygen mask on so I can help others first. Like in case of emergency, like you take care of yourself in order to serve others.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I've only known you for 45 minutes here, but I can feel it through the way you articulate what's going on. So Pretty cool, dude.
Absolutely.
Congrats. What's next? What's next for you? Like, what are you excited about in the next little bit here?
Growth for me. I'm excited to see where we go. You know, we've become a national franchise in all this time, and we've moved across to picking up franchises in other states. And, as we continue to grow and see different levels of success, I'm excited to see what the future holds.
Well, I got to tell you, I really appreciate you coming on.
It's my pleasure.
And you're gonna have to come back sometime and give us an update of where things have gone since then.
I will, for sure.
Awesome, Tye Jordan. Thank you very much, my man.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.